Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste Experience on this beautiful silent Wednesday. Wednesday is our quiet day at Namaste Village because we say that we are both a contemplative, let's say semi-contemplative. We're not that contemplative, but we're a little bit too celebratory to be really that contemplative. Boy, did we have a celebration last night, didn't we? Oh, yes, Jerry's birthday was yesterday. So we had a big celebration yesterday, but we do set aside Wednesday to be our quiet day of looking within. And we also call ourselves an interfaith or an interspiritual community. And that's a bit more challenging because it requires that we give different angles and different perspectives, all leading into the same experience. The experience of only love, only God, only now. And we're going to do that today, but as we have been this week, and I would like to continue, we're going to be beginning each session Tuesday through Thursday with one of the peace prayers from one of the 12 major religions of the world. And on Monday, we'll do a short version of all 12. So today, we are going to be sharing the Buddhist prayer of peace. And I know it's kind of hard for those of you who are here at Namaste to see the words. So I'll say each line and then you repeat it after me. So today we welcome the Buddhist prayer for peace. May all beings everywhere plagued with sufferings of body and mind, may all beings everywhere plagued with sufferings of body and mind quickly be freed from their illnesses. Quickly be freed from their illnesses. May those frightened cease to be afraid. May those frightened cease to be afraid. And may those bound be free. And may those bound be free. May the powerless find power. May the powerless find power. And may people think of befriending one another. May those who find themselves in trackless, fearful wildernesses, trackless, fearful wildernesses, the children, the aged, the unprotected, the children, the aged, the unprotected, be guarded by beneficent celestials. And may they swiftly attain Buddhahood. May they swiftly attain Buddhahood. And we'll end each one by saying, Om Shanti Shalom Salam Peace. Om Shanti Shalom Salam Peace. Isn't that beautiful? So today we're going to revisit our dear brother today, Brother Lawrence. I meant to do that all during the week, but yesterday I got excited by the Mandela effect, and I hope you had some fun with that. But we're going to be going back to the kitchen with Brother Lawrence. And it was lovely to see on Monday, it seems we've had an uptick of people volunteering in our kitchen. And I wonder if that's partly inspired by Brother Lawrence, who seemed to find the contentment of the pursuit of only love, only God, only now, by peeling potatoes, washing dishes, whatever it may be. I do encourage this, by the way. I'm sure the kitchen staff will be very happy to have you. The imitation of that, it reminds me of a story that I heard of the Buddha was in India, and he sat next to a particular tree, the Bodhi tree, and he said, I am not going to leave this spot until I am enlightened, until I am fully awake. And he sat and sat and sat for days, weeks, months, even years. And nothing happened until one day, as he sat there next to that tree, a fly landed on his forehead. And he went to smack the fly. And in that same instant, enlightenment dawned upon his mind. And to this day, You can still see all of his followers sitting at their own trees going, it's not the act, but the action, the inner action of grace that moves us. So if you do want to wash dishes, as Brother Lawrence did, or work in the kitchen, that would be great. But just remember, it's the inner action of grace that inspires the experience of grace. And this is what we're after, the experience, not an intellectual understanding. We've spent so many years, so many lifetimes trying to get it instead of letting it get us. Understand that which is wholly beyond our understanding. We cannot grasp intellectually that which is beyond the intellect. And that's the experience. And when we're in the experience, then we're like Brother Lawrence, who's completely content with the experience of only love, only God, only now. So I want to read just the first paragraph from the second conversation that this young monk is having with the wise Brother Lawrence. It says, Brother Lawrence said that he was always guided by love. He was never influenced by any other interest, including whether or not he was saved. Let's stop there for a moment. Of course, putting ourselves into the context of that time, 300 or so years ago, being saved was a big focus, because at that time there was a very deep fear of the opposite. There was either you're saved or you're damned. And from that perspective, most people were going that way. It was pretty hard to go that way. And people still clung to this judgmental, angry God that was always watching, always making sure you were doing exactly what you were meant to be doing. And if you didn't, and you strayed and you didn't go to confession, of course, that was the big caveat. If you could go to confession even a minute before you died, it would be fine. But if you could have led a holy life like Brother Lawrence, and then one little slip up at the end, complete insanity. I can remember, I won't go into details, but I can remember, you don't want to hear the details, times in my life when, I'll try and give you a PG version of one such time. So when I was 16, I was such a pious young lad that there was a priest at that time who would lead journeys to Fatima, Portugal. Fatima, if you don't know, in 1917 is the town where 3 young Portuguese children began having these revelatory experiences with the Blessed Mother. And I was very into this. I'd pray my rosary every day. And so I was so pious that we lived in Saginaw, Michigan, and someone paid for me to be able to go on this pilgrimage with probably 100 other young boys, young teenagers, and with this Father Robert J. Fox. I remember his name. And while I was on that journey, our family moved to Minneapolis. So when I returned, I didn't return to Michigan, I returned to Minneapolis. And when I was on the pilgrimage, I'm trying to think of the best way to tell this, but okay, you'll forgive me, right? While I was a very, very normal, healthy young boy, let's just put it that way. And while I was on this journey, Father Fox gave no less than 3 talks on what not to do as a young boy awakening his sexuality. Okay, let's just put it that way. And because I was so pious and so focused on only love, only God, only now, I was very good and no problem. So then I returned to Minneapolis. I didn't return, I arrived for the first time. And I could still feel the grace of being in Fatima and the Blessed Mother. And for several days I was able to, and then, well, as would have it, I began to slip. And I remember feeling like, oh my God, all of that grace is gone. I have got to find a priest right now. I can't wait, because as Brother Lawrence here was not concerned about being saved, I was. And I was pretty afraid that if anything happened to me, even after all of those good things that I had done and being a pious young lad, if anything happened. So I got on my bike. I didn't even know where the closest Catholic church was, because it was Sunday, hadn't even arrived. So I'm riding my bike, and I asked a neighbor, where's the nearest Catholic church? He said, oh, St. Patrick's is, and he told me it's a couple of miles away, up a hill. I remember riding my bike up that hill. I finally get to the rectory, all sweaty, and I knocked on the rectory door, and first a woman came, then she invited Father Mann. I remember his name. And I said, Father Mann, I've done something terrible. And can you hear my confession? He said, sure. He brought me into his office, and he sat down. We did all the ritual, and he said, okay, go ahead. What is this terrible sin? And I told him. He said, go on. I said, no, that was it. He said, oh, okay. And he put my mind at ease. I should say, he helped me relax and realize, don't worry, it's okay. It's a normal thing. So, but up until that point, I was in this place of sure to be damned, even if I made one little mistake. Even if I did one thing after all of the grace-filled actions and prayers and everything that I had done. And Father Mann helped me to relax. And I can feel that relaxed energy in Brother Lawrence. See how I bridged that and brought that back to Brother Lawrence? I have no idea, Brother Lawrence. Anyway, I won't go there. But the point is, Brother Lawrence wasn't concerned about not being damned, or he wasn't concerned about being saved. He was concerned only with what? Loving God with his whole mind, his whole heart, his whole soul. None of the rest mattered. So let me back up just a tiny bit. Brother Lawrence said that he was always guided by love. He was never influenced by any other interest, including whether or not he was saved. He was content doing the smallest chore if he could do it purely for the love of God, if he could do it only for the experience of the divine. He even found himself quite well off, which he attributed to the fact that he sought only God, only love, only now. You see how it works it in you? That he sought only God and not God's gifts. This is the important thing. He was not seeking any gift of God. There was no purpose, only love, only God, only now. So often it's the reward we're seeking, not the actual experience. And you will receive a reward. Maybe that reward is happiness, joy, peace, whatever. But when you even let that go and say, no, it is only the experience that I'm seeking here and now. The rest, comes and goes. I don't care about that. And even in more Hindu circles, they call these gifts siddhis. A siddhi could be levitation. It could be psychic powers. It could be anything. But any true guru is going to tell you, do not seek after the siddhis. Don't seek after the powers. Don't seek after the gifts, as Brother Lawrence would say. Don't do it so that you will be saved. Do it only for love, only for God, only for now. Okay. He believed that God is, or the experience of the divine, is much greater than any of the simple gifts that he would give, that God would give, the experience greater than any gift. He chose to look beyond the gifts, past them, hoping to learn more about God itself, more about the divine experience itself. Sometimes he even wished that he could avoid receiving this reward so that he would have the pleasure of doing something solely for God. Isn't that beautiful? Don't worry about being saved. Don't worry about any of the baggage you still have in your mind. Let all that go. Don't worry about any of the gifts, any of the opportunities, any of the graces that will come your way. Don't worry about any of that. Seek only the experience. And this is what we share here every day. We're not an intellectual community where we're going to sit up here and give you information to tease your mind. Forget all of that. Just seek after the knowing, moving from belief, I believe this, into I know this, or that 13-inch journey from here to here. Because when you know something, as Brother Lawrence clearly knows, then none of those other things will matter to you. You won't be seeking after the gifts or fame or abundance or relationships. This has been one of the primary stumbling blocks that we see in society today, including and perhaps especially those who call themselves spiritual. I'm doing it because this is going to happen if I X, Y, and Z. If I do the law of attraction, for example. I remember when I first saw The Secret, all those years ago, I thought, oh boy, this is maybe a little helpful, but not very helpful. It's going to lead people down a particular path into a trap. Because this is the ego's law of attraction, all focused on getting. What can I get? If I do all of these things, what will I receive? As opposed to what can I give? That's the soul's law of attraction. So immediately I started writing the book, The Moses Code, because that was all about the soul's law of attraction. What can I give that will not give me anything in return, but just for the act and the pleasure of giving everything? Only God, only love, only now. If I can keep focused on that, it doesn't matter if I'm washing dishes, if I'm cleaning the floor, cleaning toilets, or speaking in front of people. None of that matters, because we will do it solely for the experience of now. So, Vicky, take it from there.
Okay, Brother James, that's a good setup. I'm a kitchen mystic myself, and it's my favorite form, because there's no discipline. There's no, oh, you have to sit for hours, you have to read for hours, you have to understand, you have to ask yourself who you are all the time. It's like none of that. It's just, God, here I am. I'm all yours. I'm paying attention. I want nothing except your feel your love, your presence. And I don't even want that. However it shows up, fine. That's a simple mystic. Joel Goldsmith defines a mystic is someone that just is in conscious union with God. And to me, being in the kitchen, just sweeping the floor or doing whatever, those are the most natural ways of not interfering, because they're so ordinary. And ordinary activities don't become distractions. It's when we make things special. Oh, I've got a special sickness. Oh, I have a special desire. Oh, I want to do this thing, or I want to do that thing. Those are all distractions to present peace. Today's Holy Wednesday. Today's lesson, if you're looking at the workbook, I am enveloped by the peace of God. If you do nothing else but just drop into, I'm enveloped I'm held, I'm cared for by the peace of God. Could that possibly be? Let's find out. And it is happy. It and the byproduct, maybe the city, and you can't seek for it. You can never seek for the goal. You have to only be willing, or I have to be willing to be present to present love right now, for no outside, no experience beyond this moment. And the ability to forgive ourselves all our mistakes, like that, your little boy, your little teenage boy, we all have those acting out at every age where, oh no, I went to get what I wanted. Oh no, I just missed the mark there. We all have those. And then, without our realizing it, they sit in our unconscious mind and they plague us. And when we address them and try to dissolve them or figure them out or get forgiveness, all we do is strengthen them, because attention to all of these problems strengthen them. When we go to the solution, to the remedy, there's only one remedy. The remedy is peace now. It's a pure willingness to let go of everything, forgiveness, getting better relationships, let it all go. And only keep our mind. And for me, it's about keeping my mind in gratitude. Thank you. I don't get what's going on, but thanks anyway. Thank you. Thank you. And for me, thy will be done. It's a simple way of saying, thy will be done with me now. Let your peace, I welcome your peace. That kind of communion, inner dialogue that is just opening and restful. And then what the saying goes, when God speaks, the earth melts. When God speaks in our soul, when there's a breath of freedom, a breath of holiness, it comes in and it melts everything else away. It melts the guilt, it melts the sickness, it melts anything we had a desire for. It's always our desire for something else. That's all specialness is. That's all separation is. That's why the separation can be over right now, today, for each one of us. And if it's only over in this instant, that's enough. In this instant, I want nothing but the peace of God, and I'm accepting it. I'm grateful for it. And I thank you, whether I think I feel it or not, because I'm not seeking anything else. I'm in the experience of openness to the all that is, which is the land of grace. It's the land of peace. And it inevitably comes through as a buoyant happiness, because it is that there it when the things that were blocking it, when we take our attention off them rather than solve them and analyze them and figure them out, they dissolve. When spirit speaks, the earth melts. The earth of our false desires, they melt. That's how we dissolve into one experience of peace, of love, of expansion, of spaciousness, of what life really is. Life is a song, and we're learning the rhythm. It's a new rhythm, a new language. We're learning that language together. This is so exciting. Just even if we only do it for a second right now, and maybe later for 2 seconds. But if we spend the whole day, so what? I've got a headache. So what? I can't pay my bills. So what? I'm alone. So what? So what? Here I am, Lord. I'm all yours. I'm just going to be all yours, sweeping the floor, peeling potatoes. It doesn't matter. Thank you. Thank you. Remember, gratitude opens us, opens the floodgates for grace to pour through and melt all those other things. It's what true mercy is. Anyway, Calico, go ahead, honey. Thank you. I love you guys. Love you all.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, James. I was just sitting here listening to this and I'm thinking, yeah, it's getting that I know mind out of the way. Like, I know how this should look, how this should end up. And it's in simple ways of, you know, you have a thought in your mind, I would like a piece of salmon. And what you get is perhaps salmon salad. And then your mind goes to, no, 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 no. I wanted salmon, grilled salmon. Okay. That's the ego override, and it's our I know mind. It's like, can we be happy with salmon salad now? And if your mind still goes, yeah, I really wanted grilled salmon, it's that I know mind that gets us out of the peace of God. And that's where, drop to your bed as soon as you recognize you want something the way you want it, not the way it's given to you, but the way you want it. And just back off. And I call it soft visioning, soft eyes of just, see everything with soft eyes. It's like, well, thank you. And gratitude. Thank you for salmon salad. That's perfect. Now, your mind may be in the background going, no, I wanted a piece of grilled salmon. It's like, no, come back, soften your vision. It's like, thank you, and be grateful with whatever is. And I thank you so much. This was a great session. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Calico. Thank you, Vicky. I love this idea of a buoyant joy. This, the bubbles of the experience begin to build within us. It's effervescent. The bubbles begin to build and they lift us into a buoyant state. And that is really the state of only love, only God, only now. Because the higher we go, the more those bubbles increase, those joyful bubbles increase within us. We're lifted higher and higher into the experience. And when we're in the experience, nothing else matters. All of those silly ideas and concerns and desires, all of them just melt away. I like how you said that, Vicky, how the earth melts when we feel the experience dawn within us. So let it happen. Don't hold on to anything. There's nothing in this world to hold on to. That's why in A Course in Miracles, I think that the two most important lessons are the world I see holds nothing that I want. And beyond this world, there is a world that I want. But I have to begin by letting go, right? I have to let go of what I think I want so that I can claim what wants me, the experience of love. And to that we say, Amen, 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 e punto. And so it is. Love to you all. Have an amazing day.